Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Third Tuesday Roundtable. We've been doing this with the Southern Illinois Community Foundation for 5 months now. The third Tuesday of each month, we're offering some professional development for our nonprofit leaders, volunteers, and board members and staff in order to help you grow, become better at what you do to serve our community and to serve our missions together. I am Russell Williams. I am Director of Community Impact Learning and Leading with the Southern Illinois Community Foundation. Also joining me on the call today is our Executive Director, Byron Fager, and Byron is handling the back end of our call today and letting everybody on the call and managing the call for us. So Byron, appreciate you doing that today. Also want to introduce you to Michelle Snyder. Michelle Snyder is our program manager in the Southern Illinois Community Foundation, and special guest Tom Harness. Tom Harness is the founder, director, executive CEO of the Harness Digital Marketing team. And so we are exactly 2 weeks away from Giving Tuesday. Exciting time for nonprofits and a great opportunity that we have this year. Looking a little different, of course, with COVID-19, but we've got a fantastic program that we want to help you with today. We want to give you some tips and procedures and the process that we're offering to our nonprofits called GiveSI. And Michelle has been spearheading the GiveSI program. And so during this time, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle. She's going to give a little bit more information about where we are just 2 weeks out from the GiveSI start on Giving Tuesday. And then we're going to open it up roundtable style to questions, and Michelle and Tom will be able to answer questions that you might have about the GiveSI program coming up here on Giving Tuesday. So I think that's all I have. Really appreciative again that you're joining the call. Michelle, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thanks, Russ. So just before we get started, I want to do a couple of thank yous to some organizations that are really supporting what we're doing at the Community Foundation, particularly with GiveSI. And the first one I want to mention is Southern Illinois Healthcare. You know, when we went to them and talked to them about this large community day of giving that we wanted to do for all of Southern Illinois to support our local nonprofits, you know, they jumped on board with us, and their generosity to the community is just outstanding, and it's always continuing. And so when they were able to partner with us to provide some of the matching funds as a sponsorship, those matching funds go into a pool. And of course, that's the money that's going to be used to be distributed to all the nonprofits who are participating. So we just want to say thanks to them. They were a very large sponsor in getting that money. And so, you know, just a shout out to them for being able to help us on GiveSI. And then, of course, the second one is Tom with Harness Digital Marketing is with us. And you know, he's another example of someone who supports community initiatives. And with this being a community giving day, when we went to him and approached him about doing some of the toolkit, some of the content for it, and just being able to be on these calls that will allow some of our local nonprofits to get the answers to the questions they have about how to market an event like this. We just want to say thanks, Tom, for helping us do all that. You provided all the content for the toolkit, the calendar, the timeline, the email templates, and then of course, working with us on these calls with Russ has been a huge help. So I just want to give everybody a quick update before we get started. As of today, we have 70 nonprofits signed up for GiveSI. 70 nonprofits. You know, when we started this, we had hoped to get 30. And so we were really excited that we were able to scale it this large on the first year. So we just want to say thanks to everybody. If you signed up with us as a nonprofit and you're on this call, thank you so much for helping us build this great foundation for Community Giving Day. It just shows how important our nonprofit organizations are to this community. And second, so the matching funds, those funds are a matching pool, a bonus pool of money that will be distributed to the nonprofits based on the amount that you collect on the Giving Tuesday 30-hour campaign. But that money in that pool that's being distributed to nonprofits comes from our sponsors. And so, you know, when we go to someone like SIH and ask them to support those matching funds, that's the money we're going to use to distribute to all the nonprofits who are participating. And we have a couple outstanding still, but I wanted to give you an update anyway. But as of this morning, we have $22,850 in the matching pool. So all of that money will be distributed to the nonprofits who are participating in GiveSI. And like I said, we have a couple outstanding that we're talking to that we think we'll be able to get commitments from. Our goal for that is $30,000 to $40,000. So we've got a long way to go in the next 2 weeks, about a week to get that wrapped up, but we think we can get there. And so I just wanted to kind of provide those numbers. We have nonprofits from Jefferson County all the way down to Alexander, Pulaski County, so Mount Vernon to Cairo, we have nonprofits participating in GiveSI. So we just want to say thank you to everyone that's really helping us make this a success, and we're hoping to get a lot of money in the pockets of our local nonprofits at this end of the year giving time to be able to support the mission and the stuff that you do in our community. So with that, Russ, I think we'd like to just open it up. There's a couple goals that I want to achieve during this call. The first one is Tom is going to tell us how to schedule content. So we have Thanksgiving coming up. We are all not going to be in the office for the whole week. And so we want to make sure that you know how to schedule that content to go out while you're not in the office. And then, of course, just open it up to any questions that you have regarding the toolkit, the content calendar, the email template, or just marketing questions in general. And again, thanks to Tom for helping us get through this with some of our local nonprofits and be able to answer those questions.
Thanks, Michelle. And those are some amazing numbers, by the way. I don't think people understand how what a neat opportunity this really is for the nonprofits to not only gather or jump on board this year with GiveSI, but thinking of it in the future too. This will be something that we can collaborate together from years to come to try to help out. And again, instead of feeling like sometimes we're working against each other and we're trying to get everybody's donation, we're finding a way that we can still be our own nonprofit, but work collectively and make this just bigger and have a bigger impact. That's one of the reasons why I got on board, is because the ugly Christmas suit fundraiser just wasn't cutting it one small at a time. And I figured I needed to go all in with you guys because we can have a bigger impact. So it's just a great opportunity. I think it's a great project, and the leadership team that you guys have in place couldn't be better with Byron.
Tom, also, I just want to mention, this is our first year. So there are a lot of things that looking back, we've like, oh, this is the way we could have done this a little bit better, a little bit easier. So definitely in this first year, any feedback we get from the nonprofits on how to make this easier will be beneficial. We can see this going years into the future where we're raising a lot of money for the local nonprofits. And so, our first year, we're kind of getting our feet wet with everything, but we did just kind of jump right into. So definitely provide feedback if you think there's something that we could be doing or something that we could be offering or giving you from the community foundation side of it to help this process.
Absolutely. And when I'm looking at the content calendar that I sent out for everybody, or that we sent out, that we put together to send out for everybody, yesterday was a motivational quote. Today is a link back to your website. Wednesday, doing Facebook Live, doing a video. Thursday, Throwback Organization Day. The 20th is highlighting a person in your organization for content. And then Saturday happens to be World Hello Day. If you are privy to someone that can sing, I'm a big Adele fan. I'm not going to sing it, but there's a great parody you could do with Hello, a little black and white. But that's always an opportunity. The reason I say these things is to try to get you guys outside your comfort zone. Think of the content as fun. Just remember, the content's not for you, it's for the end user. And sometimes we don't necessarily like the things on our end, but it's who we're asking for. And sometimes those posts that are emotional, those are good, but we need to have some fun with it. We need to have some motivation, and we need to be real with the content. And that's where I think what I've seen with most organizations that they struggle with is coming up with the content that's not just the same old that everybody else is doing. And a lot of it is falling in love with your organization, finding things, those moments that you can capture a moment, and it doesn't have to go out just then. What you can do with that content is schedule it. You can go in and put it together, whether it's on your main page, your main organization page, or within the event. When you go in to start scheduling something, you can go in, write the content, put your image, put your video. When you get ready to go to post it, it gives you an option to schedule. You're going to schedule that, and you can go back to the calendar that we provided and just kind of sit down. And I think you could probably get a week, maybe two, if you're really good, of content scheduled, at least 5 posts scheduled on your event or on your main page, just an hour. You could sit down, put the calendar up there, start slowing down, breathing, grab a cup of coffee, grab your cup of coffee, and just start looking at the content. The content calendar is key because it helps cue you. Instead of going in and thinking, what am I going to do? You have kind of a plan. And when you do that, sit down for an hour, schedule out Sunday, community day content. What did we do? What have we done? And start thinking. What's great about doing content this way too, you are able to reflect back on your organization. And I will tell you, I think that's another thing that we're probably coming short, not only in businesses, but organizations. We are going 100 miles an hour, saving everybody and saving everything and raising money all the time. We forget the little things that we're doing along the way, the people that we're helping, the small moments that cheer us on, that kind of get us motivated to keep moving forward. If you take this content calendar and start putting stuff out, I think you might have a different outlook on not only social media, but I think you'll also have a different outlook on how you're going to move things forward and how you can fall back in love with your organization. Because the realization is we don't always love our businesses and our organizations 24/7. We have to have something fill into that. And we have these godlike moments all the time. We just don't take the time to slow down and really appreciate them, because you guys are all, I know most of you, hardworking, hard charging soldiers like myself. You're into battle. You're just keep going on and keep going on. But take the time, use this content calendar, use this time of year to reflect and appreciate and get people to connect with your content.
Excellent, Tom. Appreciate that. We wanted to answer questions today too, and to let you guys our discussion today. So you can put something in the chat if you don't want to talk, but if you want to take yourself off mute, and both Michelle and Tom will be able to answer questions. Let me begin. Is it too late to sign up? Is it too late to be part of the program?
Absolutely not. So we want to make sure that any nonprofit in Southern Illinois is able to participate in GiveSI. That's our whole goal with this program, is to support our local nonprofits. So will it look different for someone who joins today as it would for someone who joined 2 weeks ago? Yeah, absolutely. Because, when you sign up on GiveSI.org and you become a nonprofit participating in GiveSI, then you get the toolkit, the content calendar, the timeline, and the email template. So you're just going to have a shorter amount of time to be able to use those items for marketing purposes. The goal here is that we've provided everything we can to get you to the point that you can start marketing GiveSI, and giving you all those tools that you need. But it does still require that you actually, market to the people who you think will be your donors for GiveSI on Giving Tuesday. So we've given you everything, that any tool that you might need. But of course, that time frame, that window is going to be quite a bit shorter for those who are joining in a little bit later, but you'll definitely still get everything you need. We had a few sign up. I think we had 5 sign up in the past few days. So they've gotten everything except their social media template. So they've gotten the toolkit, the calendar, the timeline, and the email template. So they're just going to have a harder time getting that content out there, because they're really going to have to start working on that pretty quickly. Whereas those of us that have joined and have been participating for the past couple weeks, we've had the ability to look at what works for our organization and what doesn't work. One of the things that you're going to see coming up that will help everybody out is we're actually going to start promoting on WSIL TV3. So you're going to see a ton of commercials promoting GiveSI and promoting the local nonprofits. And we chose a few at the beginning that we wanted to highlight, maybe because it's a certain nonprofit arena. So for example, nonprofits that work with animals or nonprofits that work with veterans, we were able to choose some of those. So anyone that's coming in late, you're going to have to really take a look at that content calendar and take Tom's advice and sit down and start scheduling that stuff out. But we definitely are here to help. So if you are in next week and you say, I haven't really worked on this and I really want to get this stuff out, I'd love to do a video, I'm struggling with getting it done, call us and let us know. We can try to help you the best that we can to get that content out there. So we're definitely here to help you if you have other questions. But absolutely, we really want to support as many nonprofits as we can. So if you know somebody that hasn't signed up yet, make sure that they check it out and see if it's something that's going to work for them in the time frame that we have left. But I think it's very doable. It is something that a nonprofit can sign up today, get their information, get the email templates, because we're providing email templates and social media templates, and really be able to just post those things moving forward.
Great, thank you. So we're going to be open to questions or comments, and you can unmute yourself and jump on the call and ask your question or make a comment. There's whatever you'd like to discuss today. According to the SI program, we've been asked Michelle and Tom to answer these questions. So does anybody have a question?
Byron does.
Yeah, Byron, go right ahead.
Uh-oh.
I have permission. So, well, two things I wanted to add to what Michelle was saying, so that when it comes to trying to help everyone out with the social media, first of all, we don't want access to your accounts, but with a Zoom call or something like this, we can get on. You can share your screen and we can tell you where to point to and help walk you through that. That is much better than just trying to do stuff for you. And because whatever you learn for GiveSI can still be applied all year long. The other thing I wanted to add is that everybody, we are, all of your links, we're testing them out, and everybody already has $1 because we're doing a $1 test on every donation link to make sure they work. But it doesn't hurt, especially as we get up to that Monday, if you wanted to do another just $1 test to make sure it works. Because we're going to be testing that all the way up through Monday morning to make sure all of our links stay live. But it is technology, so we want to test a few things out like that, just to make sure something doesn't go haywire over Thanksgiving weekend. So, but on the technology side, we're going to work and help you whichever ways we can.
Great, thank you so much.
Sorry, Russ.
No.
I'm going to see if I can share my screen and see if I can show you. I know Tom talked about that button. So here's that button right here. Are you able to see this, Russ?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So whenever, this is the page for Southern Illinois Wellness. Whenever I go on to look at scheduling content, this is where you're going to actually schedule it. So you have the option to share now, which is right here. Or what you can actually do is choose schedule. And then it's going to ask you, great, when do you want to publish this? And then you can choose any future date and time. So if you know you want something to go out the day before Thanksgiving, you can always choose that date, and then you can choose any time that you think works best. But that's how you would schedule that content. So when you would go ahead and create the post just like you normally would, you could type whatever you need to type, add in any photos or videos, and then you would choose, instead of share now, you would choose schedule and choose the date that you want to schedule it. And then
just to add,
go out on that date.
Just to add a couple more things, some of the best times to utilize, Michelle, and for everybody watching, is early morning before 6 o'clock, or it could be late evening, anytime after 7. Those are time periods that we get up in the morning and then we spend a lot of time in the evening. But so anything before 6 a.m. And 7 o'clock Monday through Friday. But if you also look at your insights, if you do any type, this is for more of the higher end people that are looking at their analytics. But if they're looking at their time, when is the best, look at that chart and that will help you as well. And just remember, content isn't a one and done kind of thing. It's always out there because people get on their phones at different times. So don't get caught up in the likes and the shares and the lack of or anything like that. Just put content out there and let the algorithm and let the other people do let the other people kind of check when they want to, but just don't get caught up on that very first part, because I see a lot of people do that.
Tom, is there a limit to the amount that you can schedule?
That's a great question. I've never seen it. We use a third party scheduling. We haven't had to necessarily go through and do manually for a while, but I'm pretty sure you can schedule 30 days out manually. And
at this point, if someone's just starting, how many posts should they do a day?
On Facebook, and I think we kind of highlighted this a little bit, no more than 2, meaning a morning, early morning, and a late, ideally 1. If you're working with Twitter, have at it, go wild. If you're on LinkedIn, I would say up to probably 3 to 5 a day on that platform. And on Instagram, you're going to want to do 1 a day. which would also include probably the best time on Instagram this evening, with probably about 25 of the hashtags that we provided for you. You can always adjust those, but those that we gave you, copy and paste those in, but evening time is the best. And then don't forget, for some of you that are kind of more comfortable with social media and you're ready to take it up a little bit of a notch, use Facebook stories, use Instagram stories to guide people back. Those are going to be huge things. More people are looking at those stories than they're going through a timeline. So it's good for branding, and it's good to remind them consistently that, hey, donate. We want your money now. We'll take it, but donate on Giving Tuesday, and their money could go even further. And again, if you're nervous to get in front of a camera to do a video or something, you got to get outside of that. Every one of you in here, I know, are willing to do whatever it takes legally. I know, legally. But if you get outside your comfort zone, you do some videos, it's okay if the first one isn't the best one you've ever done. You just got to keep doing them. I'm telling you, it has a positive impact, and people understand and connect with you, and it will help your business mode today. It'll help your organization grow, and you will get the donations that you need. It's all about consistency, Michelle. Right now, it's okay if it's 2 weeks out. Consistency. And you all have a team. You're not all, I mean, hopefully you have a couple more people. You got board of directors. Get some of them to share the content. Get some of them to like it, to comment. Get 2 to 3 people to be on your social media team and help you expand that content.
Yeah. So Tom, is it true that people just want authenticity and realism when they're watching the video, that being professional and polished is not required?
Yeah. So here's the thing with video. We know this from YouTube on all the crazy cat videos and all the low res stuff. It really doesn't matter. What matters is your brand, what message and image you're sending. Now that is important. And I think we talked about this last time, making sure that the images aren't blurry, making sure that your camera isn't all, some of those things aren't great. Byram in the background, he's done a great job. I love those Zoom things where you can put in the background. Doing product placement, doing something that will connect with people when they see the video, that know who you're with. Because even if people scroll through and aren't going to listen, but they see your name and they see you and the organization and they see something with that, the more they connect with that over and over, when we do this huge, gigantic push on Giving Tuesday for GiveSI, they're going to start seeing that stuff, and they're going to go through that list, and they're going to be like, wait, I saw that. And that's what we want to do. That's the beauty of this, is we're trying to help you brand yourselves, because that will go on forever, but we're helping you brand with GiveSI. So that day when it comes, you're going to be there and people are going to be like $10, $10,
Yeah.
$10, $10. And all that will add up.
Yeah. So it's all about connecting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Excellent. Great information. Appreciate it.
Tom, what you were saying earlier as far as how far out you can do it. So there's a lot of people on this call that earlier this year received a lot of very socially awkward checks from me during the COVID-19 stuff. And we had a lot of fun with that. But we wore ourselves out for about the first 5 days, because every day we got to get another picture posted. We got to get another picture posted. And then what we learned is how to schedule out. And at one point, Cynthia had scheduled out 23 days worth of pictures. It's awful that you all had to see me for 23 days straight, but every day there was a different socially awkward photo of me handing a check to someone on this call to do work to help people, either to feed them or whatever else during some of this COVID-19. But the key there is that she learned in about 2 hours, she had the next 3 weeks taken care of and had these photos ready to go. And so I know you can, and when she told me that, she said, you have a photo a day for 23 days. And I just shook my head, but the reality is everybody then was like looking for, well, what awkward photo is Byram going to be in the next day? So it really, that scheduling, it doesn't take a lot of time when you just sit and do all of that. And she said she could have gone a few more days, but luckily we ran out of photos of me. So that was a good thing.
The only advice that I would give you, Byram, on that is have like an awkward Wednesday photo and schedule those out every Wednesday or a specific day. Because in the algorithm on the back end, if you do too much of one thing, Facebook doesn't necessarily like that. So again, changing up those 5 types of content that I preach over and over, which is text only, could be a quote, could just be something text only, a link back to your website. That's good for your SEO. That's going to help you move up in the Google rankings. Photos are good. We love photos. Video. And then the fifth one can be any of those, but community service, connecting with the community. Those are the 5 types of content that you really need to rotate. When you do too much of one, it really messes with the algorithm and you might not get the results that you want. But other than that, and then plus you don't wear people out. I remember when we did the second year, when I got organized with the Ugly Christmas Suit fundraiser and had a photo album, and I just did a photo album, I was blown away at how far and how big of a reach just that went, and just having in one album and raising money and putting photos in there. But it gets further out than you think. And I think many of us get caught up again with the content that nobody's really seeing it, nobody's doing anything with it. That's a byproduct. Market your organization, get it out there, and go with it, and be a consistency. Yes, the content needs to be good, absolutely, and it can't just be, here's me at Hardee's for no apparent reason kind of thing. Have a purpose to it. That's why those calendars are huge. And I'm hoping that once we get some feedback, like Michelle mentioned, from all of you at the end of this, we can adjust that for next year and give you really tools that you want. So I know that we haven't had any questions, and I know we don't need to talk a lot ourselves, but what do you guys think of the content? Has it helped you at all? Is there something that you found that's missing that you would like to have? We might be able to get it out to you this year, but if not, we can make a list and get it to you next year. So let's hear some feedback from all of you on. And if you're not using it, let us know why you're not able to use it, and be honest. If it's time, if it's if you don't like it, whatever it might be, let's use this platform to really see what's going on with the toolkit.
So just unmute yourself, and there you go, Cassie.
So I have used the email template and the Facebook photo, I guess like with the guy in the light green. I think I would kind of like to have maybe different pictures available for that photo template, since we're all in different types of agencies. So an older man doesn't really fit within my organization that helps young families and infants. So that was just one thing that kind of I thought about.
No, that's great. And I think once we have a little more time and we can prepare, we can look at, all right, we have, and I think Michelle mentioned this too, you know, we've got nonprofits that deal with kids, veterans, different, you know, women. We can probably do a template based on that once we have an idea. But when you're doing something like this, it's hard to make it custom for everybody. But I do like the idea of trying to come up with some themes that we can put content out and be a little bit more proactive with that. The other thing that I've tried, and I missed it last week, is putting content that has the time, the countdown. Countdowns do really well. We created one for GiveSI. Just to test it out a little bit, but having that it's 14 days out and having an image. But I think those are going to do really well for you if you find something like that. And again, branding your organization, making sure that the image is on there. But I like the idea, or trying to find a way of a gallery or something. Just curious, how many of you, and you can put it in the chat, how many of you use Canva, canva.com?
Tom, while they're answering that as well, real quick, I did have a few people reach out to me, and we did change a few of those. So if there's something specific, like the placement didn't work for your logo, or you didn't think it really fit well, obviously I can't do that for everybody. But if it doesn't fit within what your nonprofit is doing and you really want to take a look at something else, let us know. We might be able to get you something. I did have a few reach out, and we redid some of their images to make it work better for them.
The reason I asked, we're getting some good feedback in the chat room. The reason I ask about who uses Canva, we can actually go in Canva and we could create a template that they can actually upload in there, and then a PNG file, and you guys can actually add whatever images you want on the back of it. I highly suggest canva.com is free. There is a paid version. Our team uses the paid version because it allows us to all collectively work together. But it gives you kind of it's a step down from Photoshop, but a step up from what most of us can just do manually. But it's a good concept. It's got good stock photos, good templates, and it has the layouts already for you, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, whatever you need. The other cool thing that Canva does with images and video, little movies and video that you can do, is it allows you to basically import your logos, your colors. You can actually match up everything in there already, and you can share it within your own group. But I think that might be something that we could look at, Michelle. I don't know if we're taking notes, but it's something that we could look at for next year.
I want to let everybody know that as a nonprofit, you can sign up and get their pro level for free.
There you go.
Yep.
Highly recommend it for your marketing team and everything. And one of the things that I always try to tell, this is a little bit more of an administrative, when you set up some of these things as far as Canva or Facebook, admins, make sure that you have redundancy, 2 to 3 people on there. Because we know that the turnover can be high, or people leave, or people start things, make sure that you have a team of 2 to 3 people, or you can set up kind of a general login information, an email and password that your whole organization has access to. There's nothing worse for an organization or a business to not be able to get into certain things that they need to. And every Facebook, every Instagram, every Twitter account really needs to have 2 to 3 people, responsible people on there. And every year it's good to update that. If someone's left, replace that with another person, but it helps you continually put things forward in a cohesive way. And Canva is also a good way. If someone can go back and look at the content that you've created for the organization, they can pick out some of that stuff from the previous year to see what went well, instead of having a new person each time sign up for their own, and you don't have that. You're an organization, you own all your content. You need to have that available to you. And I think that's just a perk of when you have people working, whether it's nonprofit, whether it's a business, whether the person's a paid person or a volunteer. That is content that belongs to your organization. So make sure you always have access to that.
Excellent.
I'm reading in the chat zone. Sorry, I'm looking over here.
Yeah, a lot of chats came up for Canva. That was a good topic.
The link to get Canva free for nonprofits, Missy posted that in the chat too. So
Missy, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, I'm driving, so I can't be on the thing, but you're welcome.
No, great. Thank you so much.
That is the clearest phone. That's the clearest I've ever heard anybody drive. I felt like you're not driving. You're in a room secluded away from kids and everybody. You're hiding out in a dark room somewhere. I know what's happening.
It's really good Bluetooth and no children in the car.
Holy cow. Okay, so I segue just real quick. What car and what Bluetooth? Because that is amazing sound.
CRV.
It really doesn't sound like you're in a car. That's amazing.
More questions, more comments?
Lots about the photos. How are you guys doing with the timeline as far as scheduling stuff or making sure stuff gets out at least very, very bare minimum 3 times a week, but hopefully 5? How are you guys doing with that?
Well, I'm the only person working on this, so I'm finding it very difficult. But I had a question. You mentioned don't worry about the likes and the shares, but I'm looking at, like, I have a private supporters group to keep my client page and my supporters page different. So I can see how often they interact. And whenever I put any fundraising information out there, it seems like 2 people like it. And then if I put other content out there, it's usually higher. And that's probably true for everybody, but
it's how you're wording it. Yeah, it's how you're wording it. A lot of with Facebook, the algorithm, it's about the context of what's in there, how much, the spacing. It is a little bit about the image. But the other thing is, what I'm more concerned about on the back end is the reach. How many people are actually seeing the content? Because remember, we really want people to act, yes, and that does affect how many people, the likes, the shares, the comments, does affect how many people see it. But at the same time, we want to continually work on that branding. What are people seeing over and over? So then when you do ask, Now, the other thing and this is a great example, thank you, Cassie, is they're for some reason, they're just not liking how it's being approached or it's asked. That's one aspect. One of it could just be, on this particular case, Facebook is not just liking it and it's not going to get out there. But if you're doing the same thing over and over, you got to change it up a little bit, right? That's why change wording from donation, fundraiser, change those words around for some other things, make a difference, invest in your community. Some of those things, those words, because Facebook's going to pick up on patterns of consistent words. And it's like donation, that they don't like this. So I'm not going to let them see it because this is what people are saying they don't like. Fundraiser, don't like that either. So changing it up and things that might be, I don't want to say hip and cool, but some of the trendier words that are going on. And this takes a lot of time. And when you deal with this day in and day out, you can kind of go through your normal Facebook feed and see what words are popping up. And obviously we know that COVID and the presidential election and all those things were real trigger words that people were saying they didn't want to see, but they were interacting with them so they would still see it. So just slowing down, looking at how you're writing the content and putting it out there and changing it up. Look to see what it is that they're not engaging with. It takes a lot of time, I'm going to be honest, to just kind of get into that pattern. But once you kind of take it and you see what people are wanting, you can start to do that. But just change up the wording and change up maybe the image and how you're going about it. Change up the day that you're posting it. Maybe try something like post twice that day, post in the morning and post in the evening. Just change it up a little bit to kind of break up the algorithm. That would be some advice I would give you.
I have a question. So, when I'm looking at the page for Southern Illinois Wellness, is it best for us just to post content on Facebook, or should we set up that event page? And if we do set up an event page, where should we post the content? To our main page, to the event page? How should we handle that?
Okay, great question, by the way. First off, it depends on time and your strategy. When you create an event page, the event page works as well as the people that you invite that engage and say they're going to go to it. Because then what that does is it allows people to see that content when it goes in there. You have a better rate and better chance of them seeing your content than they do on the front page. Now, the other thing is you have a targeted audience, right? You have a specific audience that you're trying to say, listen, Giving Tuesday, this GiveSI, we want you to be focused on this date, right? We want you to donate to us. We want you to donate to GiveSI. It's a win-win on this date. So the event page is key. Ideally, if you have time, I would like to see you do both. I'd like to see you have the event page, and you can post the same content to the event page to that, but you need to change up the actual page, and hopefully your main page, your organization page, hopefully you will be able to change up the wording just a little bit to say, follow us over here on the event page. Now here's the key thing, and this is something we have not talked about yet. As you're creating this event page, you're creating a targeted audience for donation. You're also creating a targeted audience for the next season of GiveSI, which means when you go back in next year to set up this whole thing, you're going to be able to then send invites out to that targeted audience, all the new ones that you've made since then, and then you can re-ask them and reconnect with them. It's so important to start thinking about some of this social media as a targeted audience. That's why I like event pages, is because you can create that. I use this with my veterans organizations as well.
Excellent. We're going to wait for more questions here.
I'm reading Jennifer's real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, PicMonkey is another one we used to use. We just liked Canva a little bit better. Don't be so hard on yourselves. I know that we're giving this one component about what you need to do to be successful, but we're trying to break it down to 30 days. And we're hoping that we can help you come up with that. I mean, one thing that we could possibly do next year is come up with content for the whole time that you could schedule out. I mean, we're not going to go in and schedule it for you, but we could maybe look at, Michelle, trying to come up with some content that could be the whole 30-day period. And then it's a little bit less time consuming. Then it's just a matter of writing the content that matches what you need, and then putting the image in as well. That might be something that we could do. But Jennifer, don't be so hard on yourself. I know you guys are all working your tails off. And this is one component and one more added thing to your plethora of daily duties. I know that. But I know that you can do this. Or have someone help you out with just this campaign. Have someone come in and just schedule for that. Have someone come in that day, schedule out the whole 30-day campaign, look at it, be done. That might be a volunteer that has some experience, but I would not space it out too much. I would have them just come in and work with you and have you glance over and say, what about this? What about that? The other thing about working with maybe a volunteer on just this is when it's scheduled, you can go back in and review it. You can look at it and you can go in and see all the content that's scheduled in there, and you can review it that way. So technically someone could be, you could send them the toolkit in another town, whatever, close by. They could schedule that stuff. You're just going to need to look at it and review it and give them maybe some feedback or just make some changes to it, right there. But you can review the scheduled content, and that works out well too.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at Michelle's comment. Next year we will be starting sooner. But you know, I'm just glad we went ahead and started, because I'm already excited about the number of people that we've signed up. That's a win right there. I'm already excited about the money that you guys have all raised. So those are 2 wins right there, no matter what we do moving forward. And that's a plus.
You know, and I'll just mention too, Tom, all the information that you gave us that we were able to get out to people, it really is just a guide. It's not a perfect fit for everybody. So pick and choose what you like out of it. You know, you don't necessarily have to do the rest of it. Hopefully it is beneficial to you in some way, but again, it's not a perfect fit for all of us. You're right, maybe it's the graphic or maybe it's something else that just doesn't fit within your schedule. It really truly is just a guide. So don't feel bad about not following it to a T. Don't feel bad if you can't get to all of it and you don't get all the content scheduled, or maybe you miss some days on the timeline. We're really just trying to give you as many tools as we can to help, but definitely pick and choose what you like out of it, what works for you.
And Tony had a question about maybe next year, would it be possible for some of our posts to be reviewed and critiqued by the SICF team? Absolutely. In fact, if you want, it's impossible. I have pages, business pages that I review and look at through our team. But if you have something you want me to take a look at and give you feedback on, message it directly to me. Give me some context of who you are if I can't clearly see that, of what organization you're with. But yeah, send it and I will give you some honest, not brutal, just honest feedback that might help you on some of the posts. So just share them, send them in Messenger, and I'll be happy to take a look at those for you. I know Michelle will be too. So just let us know. Happy to.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, John.
How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you, sir?
Good, good. I think I could do better, but I think I do a fairly good job communicating with our regular donors. Many of them are followers of us on Facebook, but we have far more followers than regular donors. And I try to avoid inundating our regular donors with extra messages and secondly, maybe more importantly, putting them in a position of asking where they can give less money than I know they can give. Is there any particular secret to structuring these more to attract new donors? And yeah, I guess that's the question.
So kind of converting some of the ones that are on your Facebook pages or any other social media page that you might have, converting them to that. Here's the consistency, John. Finding a way to connect with them. So what I would do is and it sounds a little creepy at first, I apologize, but stalk a little bit. Look at some of the people that are following and look at their circumstances. We all come from a different background. We all come from different things. We typically donate for different reasons because the person asking us, we trust them. We don't want to say no to them. When Michelle comes to me, I don't say no to Michelle, right? So you have that, but we connect. Maybe it's a kid. For me, it's veterans. I would go in the poorhouse donating, giving veterans money. Michelle's shaking her head because she knows she has to cut me off sometimes. But those are the things that I think, finding ways to connect, and each one of you has a different story. So finding a way that you can connect that story to that person and chip away one at a one. Sometimes it's just that personal. When you do an event page for donations, sometimes you can go in and you can see people and you can kind of just interact and say, hey, has our organization ever changed your life? Or, if you're a new donor, what could we do? What is it that would connect with you? Sometimes that, Russ talked about authenticity. Sometimes it's not just asking about money and getting more money. It's just connecting. Ask them about their story. Have they ever been in a situation that they've needed your organization? They might not now, but in the future, and just let them know, listen, we want to be there for you. No matter what, if you give or not, but we need to find ways to stay open. We need to find ways to continue on. And sometimes it's easier to do those one-on-one conversations with Messenger. But the other thing I would tell you, John, is Facebook Live. Authenticity with Facebook Live. That's you're going to connect with people. You have to do that. And I know you're not afraid of that, because I've seen you present many, many times, my friend. But trying to get out there and being vulnerable and being authentic.
Thanks.
Yeah, and John, I'm sorry, Michelle, go ahead. Now, I was going to add too that if you're using this tool in order to attract new donors, to reach into a bigger base, I would communicate that with your board and with your constituencies, because you mentioned that a $500 annual donor may give you $25 online and say, well, I've given this year, right? And so we've all had that happen. And but if you communicate the purpose of this particular fundraiser for your organization to your inner circle, to the ones that you communicate most often with, your board members and your constituency group, they're going to get it. They're going to get that, what the purpose of this is, and that you're not just inundating them over and over again with the same give message. That's what I would do.
Good.
Michelle?
I would just say your donors on Facebook start out as your friends on Facebook. They start out as your followers on Facebook. So sometimes, we don't think about the fact that we have a lot of people who are following, but that really is your audience, and they're there to hear your story. They've committed enough to look at your page, or maybe see your page every day. But I love a good challenge. Tom knows this story. I had someone who I needed to raise some funding for. And so we did I need 30 people to donate $100. Tell me who can be number one. And then we seriously went down and people were like, I'll be number 16. I'll be number 27. And within an hour and a half, we raised $3,000. So people sometimes like a good challenge. So I would just say, think outside the box. It's not all about getting people to donate just for that cause, but stories and challenges, I think, work best for a lot of different things.
That's good.
And focus. Many of you wear many hats, and sometimes it's hard when you want every nonprofit to win and every nonprofit to get $1,000. But I think spacing it out and focusing monthly on something helps too. So right now the focus really should be, if it's possible, GiveSI, that Giving Tuesday promotion. That's the key right now. In the future, it's going to be something different. But it's hard when you sometimes have to ask friends or you ask people consistently. But I've also learned, this is the salesperson in me, no one can say yes or give you money if they don't know anything about your organization or they don't have an opportunity for your need. Many people think that it's just okay and you're doing great, when we all know it's not. So you have to be realistic about it too. And when you're going out there and promoting things or getting things, be authentic. When you share content from your organization, always try to put something personal with it. I mean, I'm just as guilty. Sometimes I'll just share the thing and it's just the post. But to really connect with people, add some description to it and just say, this is a great organization. This is one that I would love for us to raise $1,000 for, or whatever it is. And each one of us are kind of known for something. I mean, it's easier, and I don't want to say easier, but it's easier for people to connect with me and veteran nonprofits because they know me and that's my connection. It would be hard for me to raise money for a woman's organization. It really would. I know that. I've tried that before. It's hard. So each one of us has our network, our connection, our own personal brand. So remember that too, that even though you're an executive director or you're someone in charge of your organization, you all have your own personal brand. You all have something that someone's going to connect with. And when you say the words, they're going to. But if they say, hey, do you want to get a gun raffle ticket? That might not be your audience. You know, it might be mine, but it might not be yours. So just think about the things that you're doing too that are connecting with it. Giving Tuesday is a little different because everybody can connect with it.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm with For Kids Sick.
Hey, Ryan.
How's it going?
Good, man. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom, Michelle, GiveSI team, for helping us out here in Southern Illinois. And thank you everyone here for, all the work you guys do to serve people in need. I had just had a quick question. I was wondering, what kind of language are you guys using, more so for other nonprofits, to describe the GiveSI match? Are you guys just kind of simply going with like your donation can be doubled? Or are you trying to explain the whole, like, a portion of the pot will come to our project?
I actually struggled with that, trying to find a very quick way to be concise, that it's not like a given, like we might be receiving a portion of this. So I still feel like my explanation was a bit too wordy, but I didn't know what else to do.
I'm going to defer that to the experts.
So if you and I think it's on our website, but if not, I can send this out to everyone. On the flyer, this is the way we explained it. And Byram is a master of words. He can come up with really great ways to say things. And I can put this in the chat as well, but this is how we worded it. For example, a nonprofit that raises 2% of the GiveSI total will receive 2% of the matching pool. The matching pool helps every donation by our community go a little bit further. Because you're right, it is very difficult to explain that quickly or easily. So we kind of just put a sentence or two out there that would explain how it would work. Because really, people are going to donate. Yeah, well, that's not exactly the right one, but
Yes.
it may still be on there too. Is it on there? Okay.
Yeah, it's on
Okay,
there.
perfect. So
I was trying to be your Vanna White, Michelle.
thanks, I appreciate that. So sometimes it is just a sentence or two, as long as people can understand that there's a benefit to them donating to their nonprofit during this 30-hour giving window. Because remember, that's when those funds that you collect are going to be available for that matching pool donation. So really, that's what we're trying to get at. So I can definitely share that with everybody in some of the stuff that we send out. You'll probably see a couple emails from me this week. We still have a couple things we're going to share with you and get out to you, as well as what's happening on WSIL and what's happening with Withers broadcasting. So we're going to be all over radio, all over TV for the next 2 weeks, and hopefully that will generate a lot of buzz on GiveSI and on that page for people to go on and decide which nonprofits they want to support in our area.
Cassie posted in the chat, and I love it. Cassie, I think you did great. All donations given during this window are eligible for a portion of the matching pool of funds with hashtag GiveSI.
Good.
That's perfect.
Nice. Yeah.
She moved on me. Everybody moved, and I was like, where did she go? She's over there. Okay. Great job, Cassie.
Yeah, very simple. Very good.
We're also going to be doing
Great
video
question.
for donors as well. So we'll be posting a video to show donors how they can actually go on to givesi.org and donate.
Super. Well, we're in our last 5 minutes on the call before noon, because I know other people will have to jump off. Last questions, last comments before we give some closing words? Anybody else?
This time, the only thing I was going to say is that we will be sending out for next week another, just if somebody does want to be on a call, but we're really kind of just want to help people more directly. If you need something, just call us and we'll help you with that. If people want to have another call like this, we can to share. But I think the most important thing will be, about a week or so after the Giving Tuesday, then we'll also have another follow-up call where we'll share information, and then that'll give us a chance to learn a lot of the things that that both Michelle and Tom and Russ have asked for your feedback on what worked, what didn't work, and what we can do when we have several months to plan for this instead of what we've accomplished in about 6 weeks, which I echo what everybody else has said on this call, that I couldn't be happier that 70 nonprofits and more. And as we're on the call, 2 nonprofits signed up for this morning. And, this has been a true community day of giving is what we're headed towards. So we're excited. And even WSIL, they, just so you know, they have already said that they want to take what we do this year and make it even bigger next year when we have time to plan even further in advance. So appreciate
Excellent.
everyone's time today and all that everyone's going to be doing here in the next 2 weeks.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate everybody who joined the call today. Michelle, when you say we're going to start earlier next year, are you thinking Labor Day, 4th of July? Because I'm just going to leave my Christmas tree up.
March.
Yeah, March. I'll just leave the Christmas tree up because it's so confusing this year when I'm supposed to Christmas decorate. So, but hey, Tom Harness, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, appreciate your expertise. Good words. Michelle Snyder, thank you for directing this program. Remind you all, if you guys have questions, reach out to Michelle there at the Southern Illinois Community Foundation. And any last words that we need to cover, Michelle? Did we get everything?
I think that's it. Thank you to SIH and to HCM for helping us out with this project.
Yeah, thank you all for joining our Third Tuesday Roundtable. Our next roundtable is December 15th at 11 a.m. So I'm sure we'll do some reflection on Giving Tuesday and also have some good words about how to finish the year off strong in your fundraising. And so thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. And you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.